How's it going, YouTube? My name is Sherbert, and as of today, we are no longer able to play the Super People Final Beta. The beta did end last night. Unfortunately, it felt like a really quick couple of weeks, but we do have a lot to look forward to for the early release, which we do have confirmed release dates, which was really nice. Last night, as soon as the beta ended, there was a developer live stream that took place. So some of the PMs jumped on, told us that, dates to expect for early release. They talked about possible patch changes. They've talked about what to expect, kind of just reassuring the community player base, that, hey, we are listening to the players. We are listening to the feedback, the data we're collecting. We are going to make active changes to improve the game, which I thought was really cool. So I'll be sure to put the link to the live stream in the description down below so you guys can go ahead and check it out. But I'll save you guys the talking points if you guys don't have an hour some change. We'll talk about some of the most important things right here on this video. So if you want to check it out, please by all means. But if not, we're going to cover all the basics or all the big stuff. So the biggest thing that we can talk about on this video is simply just the official release date of Super People. We do have a confirmed release date, which is really, really important. And it's a doable date, right? So they are expecting the official release date to be on October 10th or 11th. It's really going to depend on your time zone. So it is officially October 11th for Korea, but for me in California, that is actually converts to October 10th at 10 p.m. So it really depends on what time zone you're in regards to when early release will happen. So figure out which time zone it is. For me in California, like I said, it's October 10th at 10 p.m. So it's a really interesting date. I found, especially with the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 release being just a couple of days after, it's interesting that they decided to choose October and not September and things like that. So that was kind of an iffy play on my part, but we do have a confirmed release date. I will be playing the heck out of this game regardless. But yes, we do have to wait about 6 weeks before we can officially play Super People again on October 10th or 11th. They also talked about some other really cool things regarding what to expect for early release. They had mentioned that there's going to be a store for early release where you can buy cosmetics and weapon skins and things like that. They also reassured the player base yet again. They mentioned this a couple of times during the live stream, but there is going to be no pay to win option. You will never be able to pay for gold. You'll never be able to pay for blueprints. That option will just never be on the table for players to, kind of exploit the system in terms of, hey, I'll pay you now in order to get this sooner. So no pay to win option yet again for Super People, which is really nice. The only thing you can pay for, actual physical money is just strictly for cosmetics. Now, there is going to be a separate currency system for cosmetics. That's not going to be gold. It's going to be something completely different. So this way you don't get the two mixed up. So gold will strictly forever and always only be for crafting weapons and for changing your character class inside of the game. It will not be used for anything inside of the cosmetic store. Now, there was the part that kind of threw me off for the loop. So the cosmetic store, it looks really cool, but it's for temporary costumes. It's not for a full purchase. So you're not buying the costume to use forever. You're buying the costume for a limited time based on whatever situation it is. So like Halloween or Christmas or, any festive holidays and things like that. There are temporary costumes that you kind of buy in this advent calendar looking thing. It's a bunch of different tiles and you can basically just click a tile and it'll give you a cosmetic skin that you wear for a certain amount of time. They did say that you can buy the same cosmetic skin over and over again. And if you buy it a certain amount of times, you keep it forever. They said during the live stream that it wouldn't be as expensive as a normal cosmetic, but I'd be really curious to see how the player base responds to buying these temporary cosmetics. If I'm going to buy something, I kind of want it forever, right? You kind of want to wear it for as long as you want because it's yours, you paid for it. So it is temporary up until a certain amount of times you buy it, then you buy it and you keep it for forever and ever. You can also trade cosmetics with other players. They have what they called a base exchange, which I thought was really interesting. You can exchange cosmetics with other players, maybe in terms of if you exchange a certain amount of cosmetics, you get to keep it forever. I'm not too sure. The store itself seems rather confusing. It seems a little interesting, but mostly just confusing. So the big takeaway is no pay to win. There is going to be cosmetic skins. There is going to be weapon skins. It will be temporary until you buy it X amount of times. You can trade it with other players, but it seems like it's going to need a little bit more clarification. We'll probably get a little bit more detail in this come early release. Most likely we'll make a separate video strictly regarding transactions in the actual store because it seems like it's going to need its own video. This is rather interesting. So I found that to be kind of crazy. We also did get a confirmed Shroud and its Timmy skin, But they also said it's not going to be for sale. So it looks like it's going to be something that either the player base has to collectively like win together, or it could be a giveaway, or it could be like, you know, a code or something like that. So we do have 2 more creator skins that are be hitting the stores, not the stores, but the game relatively soon. So Shroud and It's Timmy will be coming to Super People. It is unsure how we will be getting these skins, but we will be able to play as Shroud and Timmy, which I think will be kind of cool. So that's it for the early release and the cosmetics. From here on out, everything's going to be revolving like gameplay. They did talk about how they want to see improvement regarding the sound effects. A lot of you guys had mentioned how bad the audio is inside of Super People, and it does look like the developers are making that a top priority. More specifically, it sounded like they were really focusing on the building sound, so people inside of the building. I know some games you could hear somebody like walking in a building from like miles away. Other times they could be right behind you. You couldn't hear them. It is an active concern for them. They are addressing it. It does show that, you know, they did say that it should be fixed by early release. So come October 10th or 11th, we should have a fixed audio for Super People. That was a big concern for a lot of players. It was rather, I would say, frustrating for a lot of players, and it does look like they have addressed it and they are working on a fix. So there is that. They did also address the TTK, or the time to kill. They did say that it seemed too short. So for the closed beta, they said it was too long to kill somebody. For the test session, it was too fast to kill somebody. So they did confirm that the early release is going to have a sweet spot of the middle. They're going to lower the time to kill, or raise the time to kill, so it takes a little longer to kill somebody than it was during the final beta. So we are going to find the sweet spot. It's not going to be as high as the test session. It's not going to be as low as the closed beta. So we're going to find a sweet spot between the two. So expect a different or improved time to kill come early release. And then after that, really, honestly, everything else was revolving tournament play. They really were very advocate about tournaments, which I thought was really cool. It seems like we're going to get a lot of them. They did say that they are going to add 2 more divisions on top of the tournament bracket, right? So there's going to be Major League, there's going to be what they call Rookie, and there's going to be what they call Minor League. So you don't have to be like in the same lobbies as Hollywood Bob and Visions and, you know, Andy Slaps and things like that. There are going to be separate divisions based on your play skill. So, you know, you don't have to be cracked out. You don't have to be insane in order to try to win some money, which I think is really cool for just the collective player base. Not everyone needs to be, you know, a grindy grinder and, you know, really put thousands of hours in the game in order to win money. So this is a really cool aspect that they're kind of involving the entire player base about. They did talk about driver class. They did, you know, acknowledge that, hey, listen, 90% of the people were driver like during the tournament. There were so many drivers, and in a lot of ways, driver class was very, very broken just in terms of like hitting placement points, in terms of like getting that top 10. So they took him out of the tournament play. They are nerfing him, or they have nerfed him. His monster truck has received a really substantial nerf to make him a little bit more even with the rest of the classes in regards to tournament play. So we did get that driver nerf. They did also talk about how duos is more the preferred mode. Squads was a little too chaotic. Solos was a little ratty. Duos seems to be the best in terms of not only just fun, engagement, you know, watchability. You know, it just kind of checked all those boxes, right? Duos seems to be the most preferred in terms of all the squads or solos or duos. So they did mention that duos just tends to be the best. They also want to see a balance of classes. They do feel like all the classes for the most part are relatively balanced. They don't want there to be like a quote unquote meta. They don't want there to be like this solid meta forming for tournaments only. We did see a lot of Seeker Shotgun Master for the tournaments. A lot of people who won the duo tournaments were Seeker and Shotgun Master. So I maybe they might adjust it. Maybe they won't. But they just want players to enjoy it, and they want players to play the classes they want, not the classes they think will win the game. So I don't know if there's going to be more nerfs coming, but I do know that they want an overall balance and overall diversity of classes picked for the tournament. They did also talk about Ice Storm. They said different damage values for casual and tournament play. This will provide different gaming experience for different game types. Now, personally, I would love to see a buff of the Ice Storm across the board. I want to see it in casuals. I would especially like to see it in tournaments. The Ice Storm needs to be something that people are fearing, not just like an inconvenience. People are like spend way too long in the Ice Storm. This thing needs to be a honkin' like really beefcake of some damage. There needs to be repercussions of people being in the Ice Storm for too long. So I thought that was really interesting. They did also mention that for the Super Tournament, frequent winners and same participants advancing to the finals wasn't their intention. So they didn't want the same people competing over and over again. They didn't want the same people winning over and over again. And it says they want to polish and change the tournament style so that anyone from the skill level can participate and play. They want to make sure that this is an open level for everybody. Anybody who's anybody can join in, can win the game, and advance to the next round. You don't need to be signed on an org. You don't need to be a full-time streamer in order to win these money. I think that's really cool. It's nice that they're incentivizing the general player base to join these tournaments. It doesn't have to be strictly for streamers or crazy cracked out players. They did also talk about this is what I think is really interesting. They did also talk about the balancing out of the tournaments so that there are more fights at the early stages of the game. They did notice that there was a little bit of too much of a rat problem going on during the tournament. Everyone was playing for placement points. Everyone wanted some money, and the only way to get paid is to make it to top 10. So they did notice that there was a little bit of a discrepancy regarding when to shoot and how to shoot. So they want to start pushing more aggression in these tournaments. They said that there will be penalizing for players playing passively, and kill bonuses will be added to the points. So there's going to be more of an incentive to be more aggressive. There's going to be more incentive to go after kills versus playing passive, hiding in a building, just having a couple of guns pointing at the stairs. So they are incentivizing more aggressive gameplay from tournaments from here on out come early release, which I think was really interesting. I think I really would like to see a more competitive style, aggressive style tournament play. I think they're really fun. And then after that, they talked about Titan a little bit. They said that he was favored more along solos. He wasn't really picked often in duos and squads. They didn't really touch too much on him. I would imagine that there'd be a buff coming to him. His perks and abilities just didn't mesh well during the final beta. He was cool, but not great. His perks worked, but they weren't good. He was just, in my opinion, I thought he was a dud. I think they could have absolutely kind of done something really cool with him. I think that shield would have been a lot cooler if you can, if it was retractable, if you could pull it out, put it back in. There just needs to be something to go along with it to make him more viable. You got to make sure people want to pick him, not just feel like people are stuck with him. So they did kind of address that. They didn't really talk about what they would fix or how they would fix it, but they did mention that he was just favored more in solos, and that's about it. They did also release a new class called the Demolisher, which will be set for the launch of early release. Now, he's a relatively interesting class. He seems to be the opposite of Titan, where Titan's a more defensive, kind of like safer class. Demolisher seems like he's full aggro. He's got an RC car that blows up. He's got a shoulder launcher, like a shoulder mounted grenade launcher. He seems to have a bunch of really perks and abilities that they said that they could shoot behind cover. So he seems to be like the anti-rat hunter, or he seems to be the rat hunter. Really curious to see how his gameplay is going to mesh with the current meta. Doesn't look like he has a whole lot of mobility. Looks like he's going to be strictly for aggression and maybe some AoE damage, but we just don't know enough about him yet. So expect a new class come early release. They have also confirmed that there's at least one more class coming. It won't be for early release, but it will be sometime soon. So expect a newer class sometime in the future. But as of right now, we do have Demolisher, which will be coming come early access. So that's it for the developer live stream. Not a whole lot in terms of substance. The big thing to take away is that we are having an official release date of October 10th or 11th. The Cosmetic Store is coming. They are improving the TTK. They are improving the audio bugs. We are going to see a change in the tournament style gameplay. But overall, it's just a general like, hey, we're listening to the player base. This is what we're going to do. This is what to look forward to. So I thought it was a really nice live stream. I was very happy with what they were talking about. I was very happy with the things that they're fixing. So that's it for this video. I'll be sure to make any more videos if there's any more updates. We'll also be sure to post more Super People content, come closer to early access. But until then, I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all the Super People content. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, bye.